Okay, so I have 66 slides and 25 minutes to get through it. So this is chop chop. All right, so who am I really quick? This is just a company that I started to hold a bunch of my projects. The thing that's kind of interesting is I started a company 2001 called BSidesNYC, managed detection and response. Started from like I was in employee 0. I can talk about what it's like to raise money. From the very beginning, we bootstrapped the first 10 years. I've sat in most of the sessions so far today, and so I've got a good idea of the Grace and Kate discussions. A lot of time I work with an accelerator, cybersecurity accelerator out of Toronto. Through that, I've met with about 6 dozen startups, cybersecurity startups, what the mistakes they're making, problems. I went through, when I get engaged as a mentor, poor mentor, and entrepreneur residents, I get very, very attached to these founders because they're very passionate. And when I'm working through their problems, they're asking all these things. I originally was a tech resource. And what would happen is they would ask 10 questions. One question would be technical, and the 9 or 9 were business things. I don't have an MBA. Really, like I went to school, computer science, economics, University of Waterloo. So I had to learn a lot of things about growing a business along the way. The trials and tribulations, I put them all into a book. And the book, there's one copy of this book in the United States. One person has it here. It is coming out shortly. I've learned an awful lot about the publishing industry in the last year and why they're going to die. And we could talk about that later. Okay, so startups are simple, really simple. And because there are 66 slides, I'm not going to read it all. Pick a problem you can solve, find someone who has the problem, and they can pay you. Rinse and repeat. Very simple. I said it's simple. So you start off with this great idea. And you got a bunch of friends that get together, we should start a company. And you have unrealistic, rose-colored glass about how exciting it's going to be. We get a cool name and a great logo and discuss, what kind of website we'll have and what swag we'll give away. And then you got to deal with some of the boring things that you cannot escape. So I'd say if you're going to go down this conversation, say, who's in a startup right now? Okay. Who is under 3 years right now? That subset. Okay. So again, who is thinking about it but hasn't started yet? Shut up. I know. Liar. Paperwork, paper everything well. Get a good accountant or bookkeeper, accountant, lawyer. The worst things you'll do is to get a cheap lawyer or a cheap bookkeeper. This is the really boring stuff. I like Gary Tam. When I started putting this thing together, a couple weeks ago, he talks about playing house. He says, people get excited about starting a startup and they don't realize that it's do or die. Do or die. You should be scared. I say, when people ask me you tell me they want to do a start, and I say, don't do it. If it's just me saying don't do it to make you stop doing it, you are never going to survive anyways. Gary says, don't play house. Playing house is easy. $50 and you get a house to play. So there's uncomfortable truths I'm going to blitz through really quickly about startup life, especially the first 10 years. And I said the 5 years originally is the toughest. First 10 years, I didn't raise any money, bootstrap for the first 10 years. You have headwinds coming at you that you have no idea about. You better love what you do. And it's probably not enough with headwinds. 6 months before I started the company, had a kid. This kid, I would die for this kid. I would put my life in jeopardy for this kid. In this entire audience, there's only one other person that would put their life on the line for this kid. She's right up there. My unindicted co-conspirator, bookkeeper for the first 10 years. No one will love your baby like you do. No one loves my baby, our baby, like we do. Nobody owes you anything. And nobody's coming to save you. And suddenly, if you worked before, you said, no, I'm working here, I'm not paid what I'm worth. You're suddenly going to discover really quickly what you're worth. I would have made more money the first 5 years working at McDonald's. And your commitment to your baby will be tested at every turn. And you can have the best product ever. The less people know about it, they will not find you and you will not succeed. And everything takes longer than you expect. Getting that first customer, billing, everything. And even when you take that into account, still longer. I say everything loves to eat chicken. We live in a farm. Carol has 6 chickens. By 6, I mean 27. Everything loves to eat chicken. Hawks, coyotes, raccoons, skunks. Chicken likes to eat chicken. They are small and weak. Startups, small and weak. Everything is out to get you. Bigger competitors, smaller competitors that are better funded with better marketing people, with more commitment. The last talk I was going through my LinkedIn, this came up with Marcus Hutchins. And so like in the last 30 minutes, I added this one too. Profitable courses, and then, chickens, he had to put it in there. So it's like how to protect your chickens from predators. So really the same thing. Your survival in the startup is not guaranteed. They say in a 10-year period, if you look at what percentage of startups fail, you have better luck playing reverse Russian roulette. 16.666667% chance of survival after 10 years. So this is serious. And I say mere survival is success. You should consider success. You've made it to 5 years, that should be considered success. I look at Caledon, so I generally a pretty pessimistic cat. You have to balance unrealistic expectations of optimism with reality. So I said, let's just do this forward, do this going forward. So a couple slides on sort of business strategy. You have to know who your competition is. When you're coming into the market, there's a thing called red ocean versus blue ocean. Red ocean refers to how crowded your competitive stack, your stack is. If you are going to start a company as a pen tester, that is a red ocean. There's so much competition. How do you differentiate yourself? Blue ocean means you have really no competition. It's something ultra new. The problem with blue ocean is you have to educate the market. And you have to survive long enough for the market to realize what you want to do and then come around to your way of thinking. Michael Porter's 5 forces. This describes the market in which there's competition. How do you adjust to competition? New entrants coming in, existing ones. There's a book called Rogue Waves, and it's intended to be a book for large enterprise because the growth in InfoSec comes from the edges, comes from startups. He's written a book that's supposed to help large companies watch out for smaller companies to take over. I like this book because it's a strategy to how do you beat up these big companies, and you can fight, you can compete with them. So a lot of startups I work with came up with an idea, cornerstone project or a keystone project. You do about minimally viable product, and that is whether you've got a hardware, software, service as a feature, as a consulting. There are cases where I say there's these startups that are features. I can't see them being a company. It's a feature, and you can sell that, but just be very clear with your intent. These are different pieces. The one thing what William Gibbs said, science fiction writer, the street it finds its own use for things. You may have a feature or an offering. The market will figure out if there's value in it and how to use it. It's up to you to listen to that and pivot as necessary. An ICP is your ideal client profile. Again, I see so many cases where someone has an idea or an offering, and they say, we're going to sell it to everyone. You cannot sell it to everyone. Who is your ideal client? Are they going to, ideally, you want to talk to them before you go out to the market. You can figure out, do they actually need it? Will they pay you to solve this problem? Do they actually have this problem? Or are you just thinking that you have this problem? Are you talking about B2B? Are you going to go to consumers B2C? Is it a vertical? finance, the hottest pieces in an info set, finance, legal, healthcare, manufacturing is clicking up as well. But you have to be really tight on your messaging. Who's my ideal client? Is there a need for it? Who are the competitors? Who will stop me from getting this deal? Things like, who is signing authority? How do they find new offerings? We're coming up to the end of the year. This is when budgets are set for the next year. You try to go into companies in 6 months and they'll say, we don't have budget for it. So you have to understand the timing of budget when they set the budget. Do they have budget right now that they haven't spent before the end of the year? This is the time you need to do that. If they don't, there's times where if they got budget, they haven't spent it, they don't get it next year. This is one of your opportunities to get in there as well. Product market fit. So the cross part between a minimally viable product and an ideal client piece is this product market fit. Again, are you too early? Are you too late? If you were selling AI, if you were selling security for AI models 10 years ago, you were way too early. If you're selling security for AI models and you're just starting right now, you're probably too late, unless you've got some great idea. That's what we have. Even 5 years ago, before the explosion of LLMs, it was a little too early for people. So just in that quick pivot, say 4 years is the tightest thing. You went from blue ocean to red ocean. And this is the problem. When you've got an idea, you love your baby, right? You love your baby. And I can put it into anything. I can put it in any vertical. Every vertical needs it. No, that's not going to work. You're putting a square peg into a round hole. So the other thing I say when I'm talking to a lot of startups, say, okay, let's be realistic. What does success look like to you as a founder? And there's no single answer. That's right. It depends on where you are in your career. What do you want to do it? One of the questions I wanted to ask Grace right at the very end, but I got cut off, was like, okay, Grace, she talked about bootstrap, right? 2 tops enough. Right. When is enough for you? Because you've been doing it for 7 years. When is enough? I talked to another founder outside during the lunch thing. Like, he says, everything is just going right now. It's great. I wake up, I'm excited. Been doing this for like 6 years. So excited. I'm afraid that I'm at that pace. I can't handle that pace. There will be that time where you won't feel. And it's okay. That's right. Have you ever watched a marathon runner, like a real professional, like 2:05, 2-hour marathon runner? It is insane. That pace is twice as fast as any marathon I ever ran. You can't keep that up forever. So you have to be okay with an idea right now. So when you begin, what is success to me? And yeah, so I started a company that got valued at $1 billion. I started 23 years ago. Who has 20 years to put if that's the outcome you wanted? I didn't intend to start that. I thought I would do something that was interesting. I knew I could always go back to consulting before that. So figure out what is success, right? And it can change. You figure out which one of these you want, work backwards. 2 years ago, I'd be talking to startups and they'd say, well, I want to be $1 billion company in 2 years. So a little part of me died. Sorry. And then I'd say, okay, let's see what that would take. How many clients? What's the average price? How many would you have to get in? What's the multiple you think the market would give on it based on annual recurring revenue? And then this is what it would take to become. Oh, maybe it's going to take 10 years. Okay, let's work that. Maybe it's going to take more than that. But do you have 10 years in you? If everything goes right, nothing can go wrong. You can't get sick. You can't have the market throw up on you. I graduated in 91, so I've been through 3 or 4 recessions by now. It happens. You get tired, death in the family. Your co-founder has a mental breakdown. 10 minutes. I'm rocking it though. Nothing can go wrong. Things will go wrong. Work backwards. Figure out, again, define in advance what success looks like for you. I was asked to write down what is the secret to surviving. And so of success, said survive long enough to catch a lucky break. Enjoy it. and then survive long enough to catch the next lucky break. First lucky break we had was the SEC, after Target decided they were going to go after asset management funds and insist they have stronger cybersecurity. We've been in asset management funds for 10 years before this. This was the best marketing piece we could ever have hoped for. They put out 28 questions. The company I started could answer 19 of them. It was an easy uplift, right? We took advantage of that. That was a lucky break. If I had not survived till then, I could not have taken advantage of this. Another lucky break for everyone in information security. This changed the game, right? Grandma doesn't think a virus is a cold you catch. Everybody knows what a virus is now. Everyone knows what it's like to be hacked. And unfortunately, this was a game changer because everybody's working from home. So one of the last pieces here is, you're a founder, you cannot give up the sales responsibility to anybody else. And I've done this, and you pay the price because nobody loves your baby as much as you do. So I say 3 big things about sales. I hate the fact that it's cut up here, but founder-led sales is authenticity. You have founder authenticity that no salesperson can have. Because we, as InfoSec professionals, do not trust salespeople, as they are professional liars. They go pro. You're very good at it. But founder-led sales, you put yourself behind this. So when I was manning a booth, the talk track that I would use would be, could you spare, somebody's walking by, could you spare 45 seconds where I could tell you about the company I started? No salesperson could be able to tell you more. Time box it, 45 seconds, in and out. That's a hard thing to say no to. Because we want to see people succeed. You're here, I vote, to see you succeed. Sales is the best non-dilutionary money you can buy, you can raise. And this goes well with Grace's bootstrapping thing. When I'm talking to founders, they're like, I want to go raise 10 million. Like, why do you want to give away so much of your company so early? Sales, there's a guy, Steve Cheney, he talks about how important sales, money from sales is 10 times. You get $1 from an investor, you should expect to return 10. Every dollar you get of sales is worth 5 from an investor. That's an asymmetric benefit to you. The other thing is, when you make sales, you get intel. Is my go-to-market process work? I had assumptions on my ICP. Did it work? I get to calculate gross margin. There's a point at which somebody will want to put money into you, and they're going to want these numbers. And who's introverted in here? I assure you, the person who is a 17 out of 100 on introversion, who also likes to be a free thinker and must win at all costs, I assure you, this guy, he did the Berkman, incredibly introverted person, he can sell. Hi. Yeah, it's me. So we live in a VUCA world. What's VUCA? Does anyone know? Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. You can take advantage of being in this VUCA world. The problem with most of the sales in InfoSec these days, you sell this, and everyone knows what this is. Don't sell this. Sell this. Who knows what VICO is? Nobody knows because I invented it. So it's visibility, insight, control, outcomes. Visibility, what data can you gather? Insight, what information, knowledgeable can you pull out of that visibility? Control, what can you do to affect changes? Outcome, what is the outcome you're ultimately going to get? 2 topical posts about sales. My LinkedIn advice, of course, that was the previous talk. Do not pitch slap at people. I always have to clear my throat when I say that. So again, quickly, why raise capital? at all. In the beginning, you're trying to prove something. My cold water in the face, nobody owes it to you. It'll take your eye off the ball, and it will take a long time. There's a safe instrument that people usually use. It means a simple agreement for future equity is not necessarily safe. Look into it. Know what it is if you're getting into it. There's early stage investor red flags. I am not going to read this because I have single digit minutes, and I will let you have these slides if you ping me. And the fact is, you may be venture uninvestable. There are easily 5-6 reasons that you're venture uninvestable. And a lot of it has to do with you can't tell your story, or your cap table is a mess. People don't understand it. So I say, don't seek money. That should not be your immediate go-to. Find things that will not take chunks of your company. That could be grants. I have personal loans here as a danger thing. We put a HELOC on the house to start the company. I don't know what we were thinking. Insane risk. Don't do it. If you take on other debt, there's usually covenants to go along with it. There could be personal covenants. So even though with this company, you might be responsible for corporate debt if there's a covenant in there as such. So I say, do not chase investors. Just build a business so exciting that investors will fight to get in. And my rule of money, and this is personal and company, money only solves the problems that money can solve. If you have a problem with the culture of your company, money will not make it better. It will definitely make it worse. And the unromantic reality, cash flow is king. And the sad thing is, once you do take money, there's a certain purity in cybersecurity. And once money gets involved, you lose a lot of that purity. I lived in New York for a while. What I really loved were the incredible spirit of restaurateurs in this city. So a restaurant spins up, you've got to make it or break it. There's always a line of people waiting to take that spot if the restaurant goes under. So what you need to do, meet your customers where they are, understand their pain, solid, unreasonable hospitality, to bend over backwards and build those relationships. And this is where I sort of say, call it a chief survival officer. You didn't have enough on your plate, be that chief survival officer with rational perseverance and optimism, abundance mindset, and be careful with your financial decisions because cash is king. 5 books I love. Ross, he'll be speaking later today. He actually had me write a chunk of his book. Battery sales, these are the best books. You want to find out how to get angel invested? Get inside the angel's head. And there's this last one. Basically says everything that I didn't know about starting a company, but learned over the last 20 years. What's that? 50 slides in 40 seconds. Go. Questions?
First steps. Your book is only commercial or is hybrid? Sorry, is what the site that you have today are in the book as well, or is hybrid?
It is basically this expanding. Because I figure almost any one of these slides to be a chapter, and that's kind of what I ended up with. I lived at the problems of the people that I was helping, and then sort of writing it down. The discussions were saving over to get, and then I discovered write 55,000 words, right? And still, yeah. So there's a book, right? It should be it's on pre-order anywhere that you buy your meat.
Oh. First question is, do you have any Russian lapens left?
I do have a couple of reverse Russian roulette.
Yeah, let's play. Okay, my question is, I think about your 16.67% probability of surviving, and I think about all the lessons that you shared with us about how to create a successful company. How many of those lessons do you feel aided your success, and how many of them are in the rearview years and I wish I had done one?
So,
yeah, 16 goes down, but opposite. Yeah.
You know, again, you're, so I'm going to answer you sort of obliquely here. There's, my hope by writing the book is that you would make different mistakes than the stupid ones on. And if you do make the same mistakes, you can recover quickly. Or again, ideally, like you'd be a mistake in a big, make mistakes that nobody else has made. So then you can talk. All right, done.